Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chatting with Kora, the Pride Edition. I'm your host, Kora. Tonight, we are going to go back and look at some footage that hasn't been seen. Stuff that was amazing, but due to time constrictions, we just couldn't fit it into the show. So get ready for Chatting with Kora, Other Bits.
How is this lighting for you?
Good. If it would stop moving, it would be great if it was, locked off.
I'm holding the camera myself, bitch. Don't be like that.
What are you doing to keep busy, or what do you plan on doing?
Well, there's a lot of Pornhub. Oh, fuck it. I think from now I'm going to turn into a bear. I think now that's my new calling, Daddy Bear.
Well, you wear it well. You'd wear it well, Dwayne. Oh, nice to see you.
I know. Look at you in drag.
It's Thursday night. For those of you who don't know, in Provincetown, we used to have to bark in a show. So we're handing out postcards. We're singing songs on the show. It was horrible. It was truly...
We should clarify what barking means, because people are going to think that that's pup play. Like you're going to have to wear a dog mask.
No, it's basically screaming at tourists to please, begging them, please see the goddamn show.
Well, I just didn't think at the end of the world that I would be on Skype with my clothes on.
Darling, this is only the first week.
I obviously couldn't compete in the green, pink,
and yellow is a very difficult color to look good in. But I think you are doing quite well.
That seemed very passive aggressive. I don't think I believe you on that one. Yes, my handsome husband Joe, who is photographed beautifully, repeatedly on many, many, many occasions. But now I have to I have to bribe him now. So we'll get that's another story. That's an entirely different interview.
And he does have a really great Grindr photo profile, so
that was mine. I did that. This is a CD for anyone 30 years and younger. This is called a compact disc. Woo!
Okay. Uh-oh, I've had a scotch. It might not be too fast.
Have another.
So I was listening to this audiobook the other day as I was painting, and there were some passages that were so colorful. I actually stopped what I was doing and recorded them. They're like 2 seconds long.
Somebody around here was as crazy as a whore in the Vatican. I'll take our little bomb upstairs and drop it on their fucking faces.
Yeah. Delicate prose, wouldn't you say? So this is the final one, my favorite.
Die then, you dumbass bitch.
They're great to listen to just before bed. So there was like a private sex party where everyone was like in towels and doing God knows what. And here's Tracy and I with acoustic guitar in hand performing Alanis Morissette. I mean, it was so crazy. And I mean, we could hear people getting whipped in the background as we were playing. I mean, yeah, that was fun. That was fun.
One of the things that suddenly came to my attention was a trans woman, a Republican trans woman in California, had used images of Faye from about 4 years ago from a video that Today's Parent had made when Caleb and I first started doing Faye and Fluffy Storytime. But she had one of those little screens that you could click on, was my face. And above it, it said, I'm a predator, but don't mind me. I'm also a drag performer. And basically it was about her talking about this one drag performer who had done drag queen story time, I believe in Texas, who was on a sex offenders list. But she used all this footage of me. And I had to directly contact her and say, get my fucking face off of that. And the lawyers from Rogers Communications who own the rights to that video went through YouTube to try and have it pulled. It's never been pulled.
And so I used to go to tracks, and let me tell you, many of times stumbled out the back door at tracks at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. I remember when we started doing drag, and we'd go to tracks. That was one of our places because they had a stage and they had microphones and they had monitors. There's nothing like that now.
I know they had a great showroom. They
Yeah.
had a great with the open closing curtains and the dressing room upstairs.
Yeah,
and
well, and that dressing room, I just remember going and there'd be these drag queens, and it was completely old school. It was like, I remember seeing them with their cigarette cases, doing their blush, you know?
Terry Steven, that was Terry Steven.
Yeah, like it was nuts. I have such fond memories of that place. It's so sad that, you know, like everything else in the city, it's just.
I know, right? It's slowly, it's weird. It's when you had those clubs years ago, and then you look back and you want the younger drag queens to remember those times because they were so much fun going upstairs. You had smoke at the clubs back then, so you're sitting up in the dressing room smoking, coming down the staircases, going right on stage at tracks and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it was a great time that doesn't exist anymore.
And the really interesting thing that happened in there was I got a show called Canada Sings that I did on Global.
Yeah.
And they literally said to me, they said, Sharron, you can be a vocal coach, right? And I remember going, because I auditioned to be the host.
Okay.
I did like 12 auditions for it. I kept going. Every time I went, I'm never getting this. And so I'm just going to have a good time. And then like the last 2 calls, I was like, I called my agent. I said, might I get this? She said, well, yeah, that's the whole point. I was like, I said, I just kept thinking she's interesting. And so they were like, we're going to make you the vocal coach. And I said, well, they said, and you can do arrangements, right? And I said, well, I do arrangements for me. And they were like, great. And so I remember we were in this, I remember I got it. And I was like, I'm in trouble.
The people I went with, I think they were being kind of, excuse me, that shot is deciding whether or not it's going to stay. You know what they say, you only keep what you need and throw up what you don't. So the high school I went to was a Roman Catholic school run by the Jesuit priests.
Were they mean?
Oh, brutal. They would make you kneel on your hands. They would put your head under the board of the ledge, the blackboard, and they'd have a ledge, and they'd put your head under there and then hit you in the ass with something so that your head would come up and hit the. I know, right? But nowadays that would be a fetish. Somebody dressed up like a priest beating you would be a fetish.
I am so sorry.
No, that's all right. I had to go and put back on the pink sweatshirt.
I totally got out of I was in the middle of Patricia's interview, and I'm like, oh, I got to do the 11 questions for Patricia. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't think I did them with Alphonso. And then that's all I could think about for the rest of the interview.
I remember watching the AP wire when Richard Pryor caught on fire. I was watching that come across the AP wire.
Richard Pryor. I'm thinking Richard Simmons. Oh, I was like... Richard Simmons has always been on fire.
Yeah.
Please welcome Anne McDonald. Anne, is it Anne or Karen? Fine.
Karen.
Because I think you are best known for your work on the CBC hit show. What's the name of the show?
Street Cops.
Street Cops. Okay. What's your favorite website / podcast?
Zombocom. You
I've
can
never
do
heard
anything with Zombocom. You gotta check it out.
Okay. Is it real?
Yes.
Oh.
Zombo.com. So check it out.
Okay.
This is my shake and go quarantine wig, which just kind of...
And the sideburns too.
Right? Yeah, I'm really trying to this is I feel like quarantine is like a chance to reinvent yourself. So I think I'm going to be like a sideburn guy now.
Well, what do you think is going to happen now in November? Do you think Trump is going to be put back in office? Can we get rid of him? And why hasn't he been assassinated yet?
Oh God. Now you're gonna flag all of our accounts. I when I notice a Beyonce single, there's a good chance it's already been playing for 3 or 4 years, or any single. Like when I was go-go dancing in clubs, they were like, "Chris, this has been out for 5 years."
You got to work with an idol of mine, Charles Busch.
So I remember after the podcast, I rode the subway with Charles Busch, and he just talked to me about playwriting and, shared these funny stories about producing these shows and having like makeup stolen, except for his makeup, because it was like, you know, Dwayne Reed, trashy dime store stuff. And he was just so charming and kind and sincere. So that, you know, I felt very lucky to meet Charles too.
As artists, we tend to live in an enlightened, woke bubble, and we're surprised when other people aren't, or we think that everybody is, and then we end up getting bashed because we walked down the wrong street at the wrong time, which shouldn't be the wrong street and should never be the wrong time. But it's an awareness we need to have that there's a lot more. And I think that's what's happening with I don't want to speak for Black people, but for the Black Lives Matters right now, is that we have to have the conversation. We can't just say, push it aside one more time. But I think there are a lot of conversations we have to have.
Are you thinking about doing an album? I know you have 3 albums under your belt already.
2.
I know you have 2 albums under your belt already.
Only 2. Available on Apple Music and Spotify.
Apple Music, Spotify.
Hello, Kora. This is Xazoz. My camera. Can you see me now, Kora?
Yes, Xazoz, I can see you.
Excellent. I can see you too, Kora. Yes, may I say you're a very sexy mammal.
Oh, well, thank you, Xazoz. You say that to all the mammals. I'd like to thank everyone who's appeared on Chatting with Kora over the past 15 weeks. I couldn't have done it without you. So to one and all, a happy Pride.